welcome back to the table, and welcome back for us
Yeah.
to Indianapolis, because we just
Yes.
got back from Origins 2022. Hopefully you checked out the channel and saw some of the content that we put up during the show. But we had a pretty good show, and we wanted to come back, and even though the thumbnail said top 5,
It'll be more or less 5.
there'll be
It'll
5.
be around 5.
It's somewhere between 5 and much more than 5.
There might be some bonuses. Let's just say that.
That's a good idea. We're going to talk about games we played, games we saw maybe for the first time, some demos that we got played, maybe some games that we brought back.
We brought back a few.
We did. We brought back a few, and this doesn't even scratch the surface because there's a few that we brought back to do content with.
Yeah.
That are going to be pretty exciting. But let's jump right into it.
Well,
what did you like about the show?
Yeah, I will. I'll jump in with the sappy, cheesy thing first.
Boy.
We got to see a ton of you guys at Origins. A ton of people that were in our MVM community, that were in our Discord. It was so great getting to see you all face to face, hang out, put some faces to names.
How many people did you see? Because I only saw a few people.
I saw 5 or 6 or around
6?
7, but
Okay.
I got to actually play with 3 others from our Discord, and in the Discord organized
You did.
a Marvel Champions game.
Oh,
so
nice.
got to play with a couple people in the Discord, and then saw a few people as well outside of that game, which is a lot of fun. It's always great when people come up and say hi and tell me who they were on Discord. It's that aha moment.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool moment for me, or a series of moments.
So, what games other than Marvel Champions did you play?
I got to actually play a lot of games. I decided I was going to sit down and play games and actually do some events. And what was really cool is one of the games I got to play was Cuba Libre, which
This was an organized event?
This was an organized event, and you've been telling me about your Cuba Libre experiences. You've been telling all of us.
Yeah.
If you haven't, go back and watch some of our old chit chats.
I've only had one Cuba Libre experience. I have not played it since
but you talked about it quite a bit.
But I have talked about it quite a bit, and I am glad. I was surprised. Ryan told me the day he was playing that he was going to be playing. I was like, wait, what? And then I was wondering why I wasn't invited to play Cuba Libre. But he played with a group of his friends from here in town.
I did.
But also, you were adjacent to...
Well, so what I didn't know at the time when I signed up was the person running the event was the designer of Cuba Libre.
Yeah.
He was running the event to because he loves the game. This is his game. He says he plays it whenever he can still play it. He's obviously very good at it. And he wanted to teach people Cuba Libre. So we got to actually learn from the designer, play with the designer, ask him questions, not just about the game, but about the history behind the game. He's very knowledgeable, obviously, on that Cuban Revolution. And so he was giving us a lot of the history of everything as well. And then at the end of the game, he gave us one of the copies of Cuba Libre and signed it, which was which was a pretty cool moment. For those who don't know, that is a really hard game to find.
That is
that was a really cool.
Oh, wow.
It was just really cool to get to talk. You don't expect that, right? And we get caught up a lot, I think, with the new hotness. But then something like that, this guy, this is his big game, and he's been playing it. It's almost a decade it's been out, and he's been going to cons playing Cuba Libre for a decade, and it's still a popular game, still sells really well when it's in print, but it goes in and out of print, so you kind of got to get it when it's hot. So it was a lot of fun.
And I did happen to walk by there, and Marty Connell and I from Rolling Dice and Taking Names, also a big fan of Cuba Libre, and we got our picture taken with him. I think Marty posted on social media and whatnot. But that was very cool. My first night, and I promise I'm not going to go night by night, day by
hour
day.
by hour, we're breaking it down.
But I do want to say my first night, I got there Wednesday night, a little early, before the show started. Wednesday night, I think I got one game played, but mostly I went and hung out with Marty, and he was kind of staying with some of the restoration crew.
Restoration games.
So went into one of their hotel rooms to play some games. We did get a game of Don't Mess with Cthulhu played that night.
Oh, that's good. That's a great one to bring.
And
around.
Marty and I were the only ones who had played it. In fact, we played a lot of Don't Mess with Cthulhu, and every con we play it, there's always a big group of people who haven't played it before,
true.
And their reaction is like, what's this game again? So I'm hoping we're evangelizing the game that's getting played. But anyway, the restoration thing was really cool because before we played that game, they had someone that works with them who's sort of mined all the data from Dark Tower, and they are sort of really gauging all of this information and how to tweak the game. They've got some future Kickstarters planned or some future crowdfunding planned with it, so they want to continue to tweak the game, and they can do that because it's an app. But they're able to get all of this app data from 4,000 plus users and really go through it and say, okay, here's how many times people are winning, here's how many people are losing. they look at all these different variables and sort of like cross-pollinate it to see like, okay, when they pick this adversary, this happened, so they can actually tweak things. They're comparing it to what they wanted to do with the game, but then also kind of considering people's response to the game has been very good, so maybe...
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter if they only have a 20% win percentage if they still love the game.
Maybe leave well enough alone. But yeah, it's really cool that they're looking at all that stuff.
Well, it's interesting,
they'll share.
I think.
Yeah, and I think they're going to share some of that with people as they kind of like look through it and kind of comb through it, because it's very rare in board gaming that you're able to collect that amount of data.
And I was thinking, because this is something that they've done in video games for years.
Yeah.
They can sell the data. They know when they have to make a challenge a little easier. They know when they have to add something a little harder or tweak a weapon here and there. We don't get that in board games.
No, and it was cool. As a fly on the wall, it was really cool just to watch their design. Because Rob Davio was there, Justin, some of the others, Brian, I think you know.
I do know
some
Brian.
of the other, the rest of the team. And as they were uncovering some of this data, their minds were already going on like, oh, you know what, we could just do this, and but what they were trying to do is not go solve any problems that night.
Right.
They were just trying to consume the data, but they couldn't help themselves from trying to do it. It was just a really cool experience to watch that. The game I played, in addition to Don't Mess with Cthulhu, is Wormholes. This was not at the show. I brought this to the show.
Well, this is not out yet either.
It's not out.
So...
It's not out yet, but we just happened to get this, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to a con. I'm going to take this new game because I like bringing new games and teaching people. I hadn't learned it, but I learned it. It is a really fun game. It's very simple. You build this galaxy map. Everyone has a ship. You're traveling to all these different planets.
I'm already in Galaxy ship. I'm in.
Exactly. You're picking up passengers at these planets. It's a pick up and deliver, basically. But it starts and it's really slow going because you have 3 actions, and those actions are basically move 1 space at first, move 1 space. But then you have a lot of free actions. One of those free actions is to drop wormholes, and then one of them is to use wormholes. But once everyone starts dropping wormholes everywhere, and partner wormholes, because there's like a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-2, people start using those, and you're going... You're bouncing. Cool. You're bouncing all over. You're milking those 3 actions to go way further and do so much more than you could on turn 1 later in the game. It's a very simple, fast-playing game, but that was really satisfying, that ramp up. I want to get it played again, and you haven't played it, so
I haven't. And I got to play a lot of games. I made a goal this Origins to play new stuff. Now, granted, there wasn't a lot of new releases at Origins this year.
No, not too many.
Just because there's Gen Cons coming up and there's been production. We had a few. You played Cat in the Box.
Yeah, I will talk about that in a second.
I'll say that was a big seller for them. And Maglev Metro was a huge seller for Bezier.
Oh, really?
I saw that stack just going away entirely. But
it came out at a weird time.
It did come out at a weird time.
There's a lot of these games that came out during the pandemic that didn't exactly hit a great con season.
Because some of these games, like Maglev Metro, for example, is a con game.
Yeah.
You need to see that on the table and go, oh, what is that? That looks like a subway map? That's cool. How do we play that? And then you sell it, right? And Foundations of Rome was another one that Arcane Wonders had, which that stack, they only had a certain number of copies and they sold out quick.
That's built for selling.
Once you see that game, you're done. You have to have it.
Yeah, I didn't have much interest in it, but when I saw you guys playing it, I literally was like, oh, I kind of feel like I want to have this.
Yeah, it's so cool to have. But some of the new releases that were there, Arcane Wonders did bring Mobile Markets, which is a Smartphone Inc. game, which is not anything like Smartphone Inc.
It's a separate game,
It's a very separate game. It uses some of the same iconography and some of the similar economic principles of you want to make your phones cheaply and then sell them for a lot of money. So there's that give and take, and you're selling to all these different customers. It's very different than... the regular smartphone. Yeah. It's very different. But I still found a lot of enjoyment in it, and I think that people that like smartphone would also like this, knowing that it's a little bit different experience that gives some of the same flavor. And then I played Space Station Phoenix from Rio Grande, which released at Origins as well.
Oh, that's a big one.
That's a big one. That is going to be, I think, a great game. It is a great game. I think people are going to recognize that it's a great game once they start getting it out there and playing it and getting to see it at conventions.
It's in stores now to some degree.
It's hitting some stores right now. It'll be going out in waves over the next month or so. It's a game literally about building your space station and populating it with aliens. But what's really neat is you've flown all your ships out to this new area, and you have 9 or 10 ships in front of you, and all of these ships are your actions. You put a worker on each ship, and that becomes the action that you take. But over time, you start to run out of resources like metal. The only way to get metal is to start salvaging some of these ships. And you only brought 9 ships. You're not getting any more. So as you do these actions, you start salvaging your ships. You're actually limiting the actions that you could take. It's very interesting.
How long did that take to play?
You know, it was about an hour and a half, so it wasn't a super long experience. Yeah, it wasn't.
That's not bad.
It wasn't terribly long. And
4
that was
players?
our first 4 players, our first game, so it was really good. We also had one player that was kind of like pushing the end game, but I think you're gonna kind of have that in a game like this. And I posted a little bit about it on Facebook. We'll probably talk a little bit more about it on the channel because I really enjoyed it.
Very cool. I'm going to talk about 2 games next, and these were sort of the 2, in my opinion, probably 2 contenders for games of the show.
Oh, really?
They were the talk. Everyone was talking about these games. The first one,
oh well, yes,
is Green Team Wins.
I was talking about this before the show because I got to play this at PAX.
Oh, did you?
If you remember, when we did our PAX wrap-up show, this was on my top 5 exciting things I did at PAX was play Green Team Wins.
I didn't remember that.
It's a lot of fun.
This game is a lot of fun. Everyone was talking about it. This is one of those ones where they had limited quantities, and I don't think 25th Century parsed them out over days. I think by Friday morning they were sold out of it.
Yeah, they were.
And that's when I got mine Friday morning because I really wanted to grab a hold of this because someone was playing it the night before. I didn't get a chance to play it, but I watched them.
Every night it was played.
If you don't know what the game does, it's kind of it evokes a little bit of memories of Just One, but kind of in a reverse way. Instead of answering and writing something down that you hope no one else says, you're writing something else down that you want everyone else to be saying. You want to be answering in the majority. So cards are flipped in the center of the table, and it might say Michael blank. So everyone writes down
Jordan
Jackson.
No!
Right. So whatever the majority answer is the right answer, if you will. And all of those people, and it's not even the majority, it's the most. So if it's just...
Yeah, whoever has the most.
If 2 is the most out of a group of 8, then that's the winner. And those people are on the green team. And you score more points if you're already on the green team. If you're on the orange team, you just flip your token over, and now you're on the green team. So the idea of the game is to stay on the green team
stay
and
with
keep
the majority.
scoring points. Yeah.
And this game has so many great... The goal of a party game for me is to make everyone laugh and have these great memories. And that situation's great. Like, you're going to have everyone, Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson. Then you have that one guy that's like Michael Bublé, and everyone's like, that's the Michael?
Okay.
That's the one that you chose?
If you want to hear the worst example of that, and I'm the guy...
Uh-oh.
The card was green blank.
Yeah?
What would you have put?
I probably would have put green light.
I put Green Day.
Oh.
Guess what everyone else put?
What
Green Team! Green Team!
Yeah, I think that's... See, I would have gotten it wrong, too.
I was the only person who didn't put team.
The only person?
Everyone else put team, and everyone was like, David, how...
It's on the box.
What's wrong with you?
It's written right
there. It's right there.
It is, and it's a great way to learn about people, too, because there's always these this or that questions. There's multiple choice questions like, would you rather do this or that? And when you're the one person that chooses the this, and you're like,
what?
Really? You guys like the that answer?
Although I have to say, I was never answering them the way I would answer them. I was trying to answer them with the majority.
Yeah, but if everybody's doing that, then who knows? Like, it makes it really tough to tell.
That is true. But that was an interesting game. And then the other one was, like Ryan said, Cat in the Box. I had heard about this, actually. I was on a call with a publisher that I won't name. And they were pursuing this.
Oh, wow.
They did not get it because it came out from Bezier. This is a trick-taking game that has no suits, if you will. Not on the cards. All the cards are black and white. There's obviously the various numbers. I can't remember, 1 to 9, I think. And when you play, there's a board in the center of the table. So if I play a 2, I can say, I'm playing a yellow 2. And I put a little token of mine on this board to signify that the yellow 2 has been played. So thereby meaning there are no more yellow 2s in anyone's hands. I've taken that spot. Plus, you can just randomly say when it's your turn to play, you know what? I'm out of blue. Like if blue was led and you were needing to follow suit with blue, you can just say, I don't have any blue, and I'm going to play green. But when you do that, you have to take a cube off of your player board to signify you're out of blue, so you can no longer play blue. It becomes a bit of a puzzle because if later in the game it comes down to it and you can't legally play a card, you've created a paradox.
Right.
And that hard stop ends the round. And you also get negative points for all your tricks at that point. It is a very fascinating trick-taking game. And just when I thought, okay, no one else can do anything new with a trick-taking game.
They did.
They do.
Well, I finally picked up Skull King, which is one of my favorite trick-taking games.
You know,
I had never owned it, so I needed an excuse to get it.
I've only watched that play.
It's crazy.
I've never played it. That's a chaotic one, right?
Yeah, it is chaotic.
With like random powers that just completely.
Well, there's
wildly change
there's all these different pirates that do different things, and I picked up that, and I got Cartographers, which this is something I was surprised to see, was the new map packs, 4, 5, and 6.
Are all of these new map packs?
These are all the new map packs right here. It's the Frozen Expanse. I have Cathara's Steep.
And Hornhelm?
And Hornhelm. So these are all the new ones. They're not coming out yet. They're not coming out until later this year. They're very cool. We're actually going to be live streaming this one, Map Pack 5. Oh. This is, you may have heard of this somewhere, but you're going to the mountains, lighting these beacons to call for aid, basically. So which is cool, but in the middle of doing all the other cartographer stuff, you're trying to light these beacons to light up areas. Each one of these map packs, like the first 3, are very different. So I think it'll be fun. We're going to show this off a little bit later on stream. And then I did get, finally got the Jurassic Park Unmatched
stuff.
And I'm only going to point this out because they had this cool promo. You might have to put a picture of this up, but it's Jeff Goldblum
laying
his
down.
iconic pose. You can actually use that in Unmatched, which is pretty cool.
How appropriate to be talking about this when the newest movies come out.
Oh, that's right. I actually haven't seen it yet. We were at Origins when it released.
I have not seen it either. I also don't know if I'm going to, but we'll see.
All right, the last thing that we wanted to talk about, I think, or maybe not the last, but last thing I want to talk about is stuff that we saw that we got to take sneak peeks at. And I just want to kind of mention these things. One was Watchmakers from Elf Creek.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, man, it looks so cool. It's such like a steampunk looking thing. The whole board is like a watch. Everything's ticking. And on this board that's ticking, you have all these other little mini like clocks that are
gears.
Yeah, and they're all kind of spinning as you're playing. It looks really cool.
I think this is tickling Ryan's steampunk nerve.
Stan Kordonsky had a couple of his new games there, and a production copy of Resurgence, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, we did get to take a peek at that. It was really cool. The chips for the players and the characters are really, really nice. It's a nice production. Cannot wait to play that.
And you saw his new game too, right?
I did. I can't remember the name of his new game. It was very much in prototype form, and this is, I believe, his next game that he's going to be publishing under his own brand. This was a Euro that had quite a bit going on. Like, he was going over all the different areas on the board and what they did, and even the player board had a supplement player. It was
it's a big game, yeah. It looked big.
Medium weight plus, at least, Euro game. And then, like you said, he had that one from Elf Creek. It was kind of set in the Merchants universe.
They're doing, spoiler alert, I think this has been announced, that they're planning on following up, of course, with other games set in that same universe. And the last thing I got to see that I want to talk about is Empire's End from John D. Clare.
Oh, I didn't get a chance to play it.
I can't believe you're such a fan.
I know. Marty went and demoed that.
It was from Brotherwise Games.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
I didn't get a chance to play it, but Marty had good things to say. It has a no thanks mechanic,
Yeah,
right?
it does. And the cool thing is, like, your empire's crumbling, and you're not fighting to build an empire. You're fighting to preserve different pieces of your empire.
Yeah, so you're bidding against... You're bidding to avoid taking things, like no thanks. So, yeah, that seems really interesting. And, yeah, like you said, I'm a big fan of John D. Clare. The last thing I want to mention are some games that we also got to take a sneak peek at, as well as everyone else did. But we got to take some of them home because we're going to be doing some content with them. One of those is Septima, which is Mindclash's next game. In fact, by the time you're watching this, their campaign is probably already going, potentially. It's very soon, if not already running.
It was a big hit at Origins.
It was. They had 2 demo tables along with a Perseverance table, I think. But the Septima tables were very, very busy, and I demoed a quarter of that game. Really liked it. It is their most accessible.
Yeah, it's a lot lighter than like a Anachrony.
Now, with that said, it is not light.
No, lighter.
It's lighter than their games, and I don't know if they've done this with their other games. You probably know better than I do, but you can play sort of the base game, which is pretty light. But there is one fairly significant module, and then 2 more modules that really add quite a bit more crunchiness
does
to
that.
it.
You can really start adding in those expansions and modules.
Yeah, so there was that one. And then I also got to bring home, I haven't played it yet, but Ryan has a copy of Bot Factory.
Yeah, from, I don't remember his co-designer, but it's
I don't remember it either. We did mention it on the last,
we did. I'm
last
sorry.
chit chat. We have it up on the bottom of the screen right now.
But it's based on Lacerda's Kanban.
Yeah.
It's not like Mercado de Lisboa, which is something we talked about on the channel.
In terms of relating to the bigger game?
Right. It's not just, they didn't just take a part of Kanban and say this is the game now. They actually kind of simplified Kanban. They did focus on that Sandra mechanic where Sandra's coming in and evaluating you and going from area to area, taking actions. But they simplified it. But you're still doing a lot of the same stuff you do in Kanban, like collecting parts, using those parts to build robots instead of cars. And you still have that kind of those different worker placement sections you could go to. So it still does. It actually feels like a lighter, smaller, quicker Kanban.
Yeah, it seems like it plays pretty fast. How long?
Yeah, like an hour.
That's pretty good.
I mean, it depends on your like myself as a Kanban player. Like I can recognize easily these mechanics and already kind of know how to play the game.
I see.
Running, but even learning it, like it's great. I like this. We said this on Chit Chat. This is definitely a game that you could introduce to your friends and then say, well, next time, let's play Kanban.
Okay.
Like you already know how this stuff all works now. Let's go play Kanban together. I mean, depending on the gaming group,
I like
right?
that idea. Maybe that will be the journey that I go on.
It might be.
You can take me on that journey.
After you get to, because I'm sure you're going to play with Emily this week.
I am going to play it this week.
After you play it, Emily will tell you if maybe you're ready for Kanban. She can let you know.
I can't be ready for Kanban. And then the last one, I did play a full round of this, and that's Marrakesh.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Queen
that.
Games.
I
and
forgot
we
all about it.
Very lucky to bring one of these home because I think there's only a couple that in existence. This is a big Stefan Feld game, and I mean that both physically and sort of weight-wise. This is probably his heaviest game.
Yeah, and it's his newest game too.
This is his first new game in a while because, as you might know, they've been doing a lot of rethemes and reskins and redesigns.
Yeah, a little bit
of a lot of the games that he's done in the past, but under new names like New York and a few others. This one is all new. It has a lot of different things going on. It's got some cube mechanics where you're dropping them in a tower, kind of like Shogun, I think, where some of them get stuck in the tower and they might come out later. But we're going to have some content on that at some point in the near future, too. That's not coming. I don't think it's delivering for a while.
No, it's going to be a while.
But I was really thrilled to get a hold of that because I'm a big Feld fan. And this is probably heavier than, things like Bora Bora and Trajan for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that was one I wanted to see but didn't get to see. Also, I didn't, because WizKids didn't have a booth, but they had the Marvel Fantasy Realms at Origins as well. Remix, but I couldn't find it. I didn't know where to find it.
They didn't have it. All I know of is that I saw Zev in the hall.
And he had it.
And I said,
somewhere.
Marvel Remix, and he goes, I have it in my suitcase. And I didn't see him again. So I know it was there. I know it exists. I know Rodney has a video up on it already.
I mean, I'm very excited for that one too.
I do want to try that.
That was maybe the one I really wished I could have seen.
I have to say, I haven't played it, but as I thumbed through the Star Trek version, it wasn't doing it for me.
I'm not a big Star Trek IP fan. Maybe if I was, I'd be super excited about it.
I'm not even sure you would be then. But the Marvel one looks good. It's a really nice looking game, and they have a nice graphic design to it. Other than that, I do want to mention one other thing that you can do at a con that you might not think of is find some old games for cheap.
You bought that at Origins?
I bought this at Origins because Asmodee had this little booth.
Oh yeah,
and all they were doing
blowout booth,
was just selling older stuff, and they had this really wild collection of games all over the place, but. Some of the product Asmodee had there was this copy of Crossing.
Well, that's such
and
a
on the
great
last
game.
day on Sunday, they had discounted things so low. I got this for $7.
Wow, that's a great deal.
Which, MSRP probably $20.
Yeah,
so
I think I paid like $20 for mine back in the day.
But $7, I was like, it's a silly game. If you've never played Crossing, you're literally just going 1, 2, 3, and you point at a mushroom. And if you're the only one pointing at the mushroom, you get all the gems on the mushroom. And then you can also start pointing at everyone else's loot and taking that too. It is...
But it's it leads to some dynamic moments.
It sounds ridiculously stupid.
It does.
It is ridiculously stupid, but it's so much fun.
It is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. So that was our experience. You got anything else, Ryan?
Yeah, well, there was one thing I wanted to take home and I wanted to buy, but I couldn't, and that was Frosthaven, which was there. They actually had... the production copy.
Did?
Yeah, you didn't go back and see it?
I walked by. I said hello to Price.
Man.
That's about it.
I went there and they unboxed it for me. I was like, I want to take this home. It's the only one they have, but it's like 40 pounds. Like lifting that thing was like working out.
Oh, wow.
It's quite the experience, but all of the stuff I mean, I am so excited for Frosthaven.
You know, when that hits, it's going to be such an event for people.
It is. It's going to be an event for me. I'm very excited about it. So that's the last thing that I really wish I could have taken home. Obviously, it wasn't for sale. They were just demoing it, but
Sure.
I'm very excited. It was very cool to finally get to see all the components and what it all looks like in the final copy. That was a cool moment.
Yeah, so other than all of that, and like Ryan said, meeting with people in our Discord, hanging out with old friends, I spent a lot of time with Marty. Alicia was there with me. Marty and Alicia ran around with me. Marty did a lot of the camera work that you saw on that footage. Marty was the cameraman there that we referenced in a couple of videos. So it was just a lot of fun hanging out.
Jeremy Howard was there, of course.
Jeremy Howard was there. Emily was the only MVMer that didn't make it, unfortunately. But she and I will be playing some games this week.
Yeah, we got Gen Con coming up soon. So if you missed us at Origins, check us out at Gen Con for sure.
Absolutely. And until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
Congratulations, you got to the end of one of our videos. Now, if you want more practice, just click on the video over here. It's another video. You might not have seen it yet, so click on it. If you don't want to do that, at least click on the subscription button below. That always helps us. And if you want notifications, please ring that bell.